Hey everybody, Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com, located right here in the beautiful city of Porter, Texas, where I often say it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. But we're located right outside of Houston, Texas, in the Humble Kingwood area. So if you're ever in this area and you need pressure washing or soft washing supplies or equipment or whatever, stop on in and see us. Even if you don't, stop in just to say hey, talk a little shop, visit with us. Be glad to see you. But I've had a couple guys request setting up the battery, hooking up the battery cables, gas tank, that kind of thing for the 8 gallon per minute skid unit that we sell. We sell quite a few of these. And so I had a couple guys message me, I think one on YouTube and another, actually when I was doing a quote for a build for him, about how to hook up the battery using the battery cables, because this machine does not come with the battery cables, it does not come with a gas tank, and it does not come with a battery. So you will need to supply all that once you get it. And so what you'll need is, for the battery, you'll need a positive wire like this, and they should have the crimped ends with the fittings already over there on them to fit your battery, as well as the starter on the machine. I think it's 6-AUG wire, if I remember correctly. We make these up when we're doing builds because we never know how far the battery is going to be. So you will want to make sure that you plan that accordingly. So once you get the equipment, figure out where you're going to put your battery, and then make sure you measure how far the battery is going to be from the machine so you get the right length, because you don't want to be short. So right down here is the starter. It's right behind the pump. And you'll see there is a little nut on the end of it. Let me see if I can pull this camera down a little bit, but there it is right there. I'm trying to put some light on it for you, so I hope you can see that. But that is basically this nut that's right here. So what you're going to do is take that nut off, and then you're going to take one end of your red wire and you're going to hook it right there, and then put the nut back on and fasten it down real good. Once you've hooked up the positive cable to the starter, then it's time to hook your ground up to the machine. And I'll use either most of the time, well, pretty much all of the time, I just ground it to the frame. There's usually always a couple of holes around the frame that you can use a nut and a bolt to ground it there. Also, on the back of the machine, there is a place that you could ground it to the machine. And let me move the camera and I'll show you that. So it's this one right here, and I'll have a picture come in too to show you, but it's that one right there, and you could hook this to that and then run the other end to the negative side of the battery. And so, but what I normally do is there's a couple of holes like right here, and so I'll just use a nut and a bolt and usually just do it to the frame. And then, so once you've got the your positive wire connected to the starter, you've got this connected to the frame or the bolt in the back of the engine, then you're going to hook your positive up to your battery, then your negative up. And then I would use some type of grease, dielectric grease or waterproof grease or something, and put a little grease on all those connections, the battery terminals as well. And if you can get a little plastic cover for your battery, that would be a good idea too. I've run these machines on little lawn and tractor size batteries when that's all I'm running is this machine. But since we're running Flow Pro remote, which it doesn't drain a lot, but it's just something extra that's hooked up to it. We also run electric reels off of it, so we get a little bit bigger battery. Actually, in the instructions, there's a recommended battery size, but I think I just always get I think it's an RV Marine Maintenance RV Group 24, something like that should work just fine. It's got a charging system in it, so it's going to keep the battery charged up. You don't have to charge it, you know, every time before you're going to use it. It's not like it's a 12-volt pump battery or whatever that's constantly draining it. This will continue to charge the battery as you're using it. So once I've done that, then it's time to hook up the fuel line to the gas tank, and so I'll show you that next. Oh, I got to do this. I've never done this before. Boom. Okay, so for the fuel line, what I usually just use is, where is, let's get over here. There we go. Here's the fuel filter coming off of it. And so I just use 1/4-inch hose, clear braid hose that we use for downstreaming, this clear braid hose. And so that's gonna, you might want to heat it up and it's just gonna slide over that. I would hose clamp it. I like using the clear braid hose because that's what I use, not because that's what I use, but I can see the gas coming up when it's pulling it. It's got a fuel pump, so it's gonna pull the gas. So depending on how far the fuel tank is from the machine, it may take a little bit for it to pull the gas up, but it will, but I like to be able to see it so I know how much longer it's going to be. I remember on our Kingslinger, on the Kingslinger that we use for soft washing and 8 gallon per minute tank, the Kingslinger is actually further away, but it's got a check valve in it, and once you get the gas pulling to it, it'll stay pretty much at that hose. But when we first hooked it up and starting it, we could see the gas line coming, and that kind of gave us a goal of how many more times we were going to have to keep pulling it before the gas got to it and would start. But anyway, that's one of the reasons I like the clear braid hose, and it's always so readily available. But you could get the black fuel line, whatever you want to use, that's up to you. But you're going to take it and you're going to hook it on here, put a hose clamp on it, and then the other end is going to go to your gas tank, which should have a 1/4-inch barb on it as well. There's some cases where we'll run it to a Y and then run another one off to the Kingslinger, and then the main one would go to the fuel tank if we want to run one large tank like we do on our utility truck to feed gas to both the pressure washer and the Kingslinger, so we don't have to keep filling the Kingslinger up with gas. So we talked about oil last week. It's a good idea to change the engine oil and the pump oil out after about 20 hours of use. Refer to the owner's manual for when you need to change the oil after that, but after the break-in period of about 20 hours, I would make sure that you change it. And we have the high performance lubricants, which is what I use. That's the SAE 5W30 for the engine. And then we've got on the website, it'll say compressor life, but we're getting a new label for it. But it's pump oil, SAE 30 non-detergent. And that will work for your pump. And so once you've changed those oils, I believe the pump only has to be changed every, I want to say 500 hours. I do mine more often, of course. And the engine oil, I think it's every 100 hours. But check out your owner's manual for sure. A lot of great tips in that. I've said before, I know us men, we don't like to do that, but I like to stay on top of what they're saying in there, because if you don't follow some of the stuff that they recommend, it could void your warranty. So you want to at least be familiar with it. We've talked before about the fuse that's back behind here, behind the, let's get it pushed out a little bit. It's back behind the throttle assembly. So that can go bad sometimes. It's a 30 amp fuse. Just had a guy a week or so ago that happened to, and he was able to watch my video on how to change that. And then we leave it out so that if it ever happens again, it's easier to change. So check that video. We'll put it up in the card up above, down in the description, whatever, so that you can watch that as well. So I think that's it. Let me stop here for a second and make sure that that's it. Yeah, so that's it, guys. I hope that's been helpful for you. Kind of a short video, but I did have a couple of guys I promised that I'd make a video on that. I think it'll be helpful for other folks as well. Don't forget, coming up April 10th and 11th is our next hands-on training right here in Porter, right outside of Houston, Texas. So that's a Monday and a Tuesday, April 10th and 11th. We do hands-on training as well as classroom training, and been doing that every month for the last 11, 12 years. And then also we have the online video school. If you can't make it out here, that is awesome too. Over 250 something videos that I've amassed over the last 10 years. I think that's been going on. So check that out. You have the ability to take quizzes and tests. I think it runs $540. It is, I don't think, it is $549 for a lifetime membership. If you can't afford that, you can take the individual classes, but you only have 2 weeks to complete those courses, and then they go away. You don't get to go back and access them. So the lifetime membership is a much better deal. And then also coming up April, I think it's 13th and 14th, I'll be doing a YouTube Live later today with Jeff and my brother Dean and Cordero, but Jeff is doing a parking lot striping course with actual hands-on training there as well. So you'll be able to go out and actually do some striping. Check that out. We've already done a couple of lives with Jeff, so they're on the channel here, but that's April 13th and 14th. And we'll put a link and information where you can sign up for that as well. But highly recommend that. That's something that you absolutely could add to your business or start as a standalone business either way. Okay? So don't forget, stop by the store if we can help you in any way. Love to see you, chat. Email us at info@dougruckerstore.com if you need any information or estimates for rig builds, whatever. And thanks for watching. And leave a comment, subscribe if this is helping you. Ask some questions, hit that bell so you get notifications. So every time we come out, and there comes the stupid train. Hey, y'all have a blessed day and take care.